Letitia James stepped onto a New York City live TV studio stage while spotlights flared, unaware a host's sharp accusations would ignite a fire no one could douse. A curved glass desk gleamed beside padded guest chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows framing Manhattan's twinkling skyline, tiered seats buzzing with viewers clutching signs, their cheers loud but tense. The host, Tara Reid, strode out, her navy blazer snug, auburn hair swept back, gold hoop earrings flashing, her smile tight as she gripped Letitia's hand, her eyes glinting like a storm brewing. Letitia sat, her tailored gray suit crisp, short curls neat, her nod stiff, hands clasped, her face calm but wary, scanning the crowd's roar. A man in a leather jacket waving, a woman in a blue scarf clapping. Tara settled behind the desk, her voice steady while greeting Letitia, calling her a champion for justice, the audience whooping as a big screen flashed news clips. Letitia outside Brooklyn courthouses, her voice firm on fairness. Cheers softened as Tara's blazer shifted, her tone cooling while asking how Letitia kept New York's trust as its top lawyer. Her words smooth but pointed like a blade testing steel. Letitia's suit shone as she spoke clear, saying she chased truth, held power accountable, her hands still, her smile practiced, the crowd nodding, a teen in a cap cheering, a woman in a red coat raising her sign high. Tara's earrings caught light as she leaned forward, her voice dropping, saying trust needed proof. Not promises, her hands pulling a worn envelope from the desk, marked with a whistleblower's scrawl, her eyes locking Letitia's while calling it a federal workers' leak, slipped to Tara's office by a stranger who vanished. The crowd stirred, a man in a plaid shirt whispering, a woman in a blue scarf gasping, the studio's hum fading fast. Tara's blazer creased as she slid out papers, reading slow, saying they showed Letitia faked loan forms, listed her dad as her husband for a Brooklyn mortgage, claimed a Virginia house as her main home while running New York, all to score cheap rates, her voice hard, cutting through the crowd's hush. Letitia's jaw tightened, her gray suit stiff as she sat up, her curls steady while saying the papers were lies, smears by rivals to derail her, her voice loud but her fingers twitching, the audience splitting, some booing, a man in a leather jacket shaking his head, others clapping, a teen in a cap filming. Tara's smile faded, her earrings flashing as she held up a second sheet, saying it wasn't just loans, it was tenants, folks in Letitia's Brooklyn building, hit with rent spikes after she dodged taxes by lying about units. Her words sharp, the crowd gasping louder, a woman in a red coat clutching her chest. Letitia's hands gripped her chair, her suit stiff as she snapped back, calling it a stunt, saying Tara twisted facts to hurt progress, her voice rising, her eyes darting to the crowd. A woman in a blue scarf frowning, a man in a plaid shirt crossing his arms. Tara's blazer held firm as she stood, saying she had a witness, someone Letitia's scheme crushed, her voice calm but heavy, like a wave pulling back before it crashes. The audience froze, a stagehand pausing at the set's edge, the big screen dim, spotlights pinning Tara and Letitia, Manhattan's skyline glittering behind, the air thick with waiting. Tara signaled the wings, her earrings glinting as a woman shuffled out, Maria Cruz, a tenant from Letitia's building, her faded sweater loose, gray braid frayed, her hands clutching a crumpled lease and worn journal, her face lined but fierce, her eyes locking Letitia's like a mirror no one could dodge. Maria's voice shook, saying she'd lived in that Brooklyn place for decades, paid rent on time, raised kids there, but Letitia hiked costs, lied about the building's size to skip taxes, left families like hers scraping, her words raw, the crowd murmuring, a teen in a cap wiping his eyes, a woman in a red coat nodding hard. Letitia's curls bounced as she stood, her gray suit sharp while saying Maria was misled. The building followed rules, her voice steady but her hands shaking. The audience splitting louder, boos mixing with cheers. A man in a leather jacket shouting, a woman in a blue scarf standing. Tara's blazer stayed crisp as she faced Letitia, saying Maria wasn't alone. Dozens of tenants got squeezed, their leases tied to Letitia's loans, her voice a hammer, the crowd roaring. A man in a plaid shirt clapping fierce, a stagehand filming from the wings, the skyline steady beyond the windows. Maria's sweater sagged as she held up her lease, her braid firm while saying she'd fought for years, wrote letters, begged for help. But Letitia's office ignored her, her journal full of prayers for her kids, her voice breaking but strong, like a bell through fog, the audience hushing. A woman in a red coat wiping tears, a teen in a cap raising his phone. Tara's earrings flashed as she turned to Letitia, asking why a public servant let families drown while chasing deals. Her words slow, each one landing hard, the crowd leaning in. A man in a leather jacket gripping his sign, the studio pulsing with raw truth, Manhattan's lights a silent witness. Letitia's suit creased as she sat, her voice low, saying she'd review the claims, fix any wrongs, her eyes dodging Tara's, her hands folding tight, the audience murmuring, some clapping soft. A woman in a blue scarf shaking her head, others booing, a man in a plaid shirt shouting no. Tara's blazer stayed sharp as she faced the seats, saying this wasn't just one building. It was a pattern, loans, lies, tenants pushed out, all signed by Letitia. Her voice rising, the crowd roaring louder. A teen in a cap standing, the big screen flashing Maria's lease. The studio afire ready to spread. Letitia's silence a weight no one could lift. The city poised to wake. Truth a spark no shadow could snuff. The night burning bright with hope. Tara Reid stood firm on a New York City live TV studio stage while the crowd's roar surged. Her navy blazer crisp as she clutched a worn whistleblower's envelope, ready to bury Letitia James's shaky defense with truth no one could dodge. Spotlights burned across a sleek set, a curved glass desk gleaming beside padded guest chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows showing Manhattan's skyline, tiered seats pulsing with viewers gripping signs, their shouts sharp, a man in a leather jacket pounding his fist, a woman in a blue scarf filming steady. Letitia sat rigid, her gray suit tight, short curls still, her hands clenched, her face pale as she muttered about investigations, her eyes dodging Tara's, the air electric with a storm breaking wide. Maria Cruz stood proud, her faded sweater loose, gray braid firm, crumpled lease and worn journal raised, her voice echoing like a drum. The studio a furnace of hope and rage, Manhattan's lights steady beyond. Tara's gold hoop earrings flashed as she faced the seats, her voice clear saying Letitia's lies didn't stop at loans. They broke lives, tenants like Maria crushed under fake records and hidden deals. Her words landing hard, the crowd surging, a teen in a cap clapping wild, a woman in a red coat standing fierce. She pulled a new paper from the envelope, her blazer steady while reading slow, saying it was a loan form, Letitia's name scrawled, claiming her Brooklyn building had 10 units when it held 20, dodging taxes, jacking rents, her tone sharp, slicing through the studio's buzz. The audience gasped, a man in a plaid shirt yelling, a woman in a blue scarf filming tight, the big screen flashing the form. Letitia's signature bold, the room tilting toward justice, the skyline a silent backdrop. Letitia's suit creased as she leaned forward, her curls bouncing while saying the form was old, a clerical error, her office fixed it. Her voice loud but cracking, her hands twisting, the crowd splitting, some clapping soft, a man in a leather jacket booing, others hissing, a teen in a cap shaking his head. Tara's blazer gleamed as she held up another sheet, saying it wasn't one error, it was dozens. Leases rewritten to push tenants out, rents doubled after Letitia's loan tricks, her voice rising, the crowd roaring, a woman in a red coat shouting, a stagehand filming, the big screen showing eviction notices, Letitia's name stamped clear, the studio a wildfire no excuse could tame. Maria's sweater sagged as she stepped closer, her lease raised high, her braid firm while saying Letitia's lies cost her neighbors' homes. Elders, moms, kids, all scrambling after evictions, her journal full of prayers for strength, her voice raw but steady. like a river carving stone. The audience hushing, a man in a plaid shirt wiping his eyes, a woman in a blue scarf nodding hard, her phone up. Tara's earrings caught light as she turned to Letitia, asking why she signed off on evictions, why she left families like Maria's beg. Her words slow, each one a hammer, the crowd surging. A teen in a cap filming fast, a man in a leather jacket standing. The studio a heart pulsing for truth, Manhattan's skyline glittering behind. Tara signaled the wings, her earrings flashing as a man stepped out. Carl, a whistleblower from Letitia's office, his tweed jacket worn, glasses foggy, his hands clutching a USB drive, his face pale but set, his eyes avoiding Letitia's, the crowd gasping. A teen in a cap leaning forward, a woman in a red coat whispering fast. Carl's voice shook, saying he'd worked under Letitia. Saw her team shred tenant complaints, fake loan audits, bury proof to keep her deals clean. His words halting but clear, the audience clapping loud. A man in a leather jacket nodding, a woman in a blue scarf wiping tears. The big screen flashing a shredded memo. Letitia's initials faint but real, the skyline steady outside. Letitia's curls bounced as she sat hard, her suit creasing while saying Carl was disgruntled, fired for slacking, his drive a fake. Her voice loud but her hands trembling, the crowd splitting, some booing. A man in a plaid shirt shouting, others murmuring. A teen in a cap filming tighter, the studio's pulse racing. Tara's blazer stayed crisp as she plugged the drive into a laptop, her voice calm saying it held emails. Letitia's orders to clear her name. Ignore tenant pleas, push loans through. Her words a spark, the crowd roaring, a woman in a red coat standing, a stagehand cheering. The big screen showing an email, Letitia's words cold. Handle it quiet. The city's lights framing the truth. Maria's lease trembled in her hands, her sweater proud as she faced Letitia, saying her kids slept on floors because of those orders, her journal's prayers keeping her strong, her voice breaking but fierce, like a bell through smoke, the audience crying out, a man in a leather jacket clapping hard, a woman in a blue scarf hugging her neighbor, the studio a wildfire of truth, Manhattan's skyline a witness. Tara's blazer stayed sharp as she turned to the seats, saying Letitia's scheme hit boroughs wide, tenants facing hikes, evictions tied to her loans. Her voice rising, the crowd surging, a teen in a cap shouting, a man in a plaid shirt filming, the big screen flashing a map, red dots marking Letitia's buildings, the studio a furnace no lie could cool, the city stirring below. Letitia's suit sagged as she stood again, her voice low, saying she'd investigate, hold her team accountable, her eyes dodging Tara's, her hands folding tight, the audience booing fierce. A woman in a red coat yelling, a man in a leather jacket shaking his fist, Tara's words drowning her out. Carl's glasses fogged as he spoke again, his tweed jacket creased while saying he'd leaked the drive to save families, couldn't watch homes fall. His voice steady now, like a man unburdened, the audience clapping loud, a teen in a cap raising his phone, a man in a plaid shirt nodding fierce, the big screen showing a tenant's letter. Ignored by Letitia's desk, Maria's name scrawled, the skyline glowing steady. Maria's braid lifted as she faced the crowd, her sweater proud while saying she'd fought alone. But now tenants stood together, their prayers in her journal a vow to rise, her voice a fire, the audience cheering. A woman in a red coat hugging her friend, a man in a leather jacket standing tall, the studio a wave ready to crash, Manhattan's lights a silent cheer. Tara's blazer stayed sharp as she turned to Letitia, saying this wasn't politics, it was people. Families crushed while she chased deals, her voice a vow, the crowd surging. A woman in a blue scarf filming, a teen in a cap shouting, the big screen flashing Maria's kids, smiling in a fading photo. The studio a heart beating loud, its truth a spark no silence could smother. Letitia's defense crumbling, the city waking, the fight just beginning. Tara's envelope a flame that wouldn't fade, the night alive with hope, ready to flood New York. Tara Reid gripped her whistleblower's envelope on a New York City live TV studio stage, while the crowd's cheers roared. Her navy blazer sharp as she faced Letitia James, ready to shatter her fading defense with truth no one could dodge. Spotlights burned bright across a sleek set, a curved glass desk gleaming beside padded guest chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows framing Manhattan's skyline, tiered seats pulsing with viewers waving signs, their shouts fierce, a man in a leather jacket pounding his fist, a woman in a blue scarf filming steady. Letitia sat stiff, her gray suit creased, short curls tight, her hands trembling, her voice weak about audits, her eyes dodging Tara's, the air crackling with a fire spreading fast. Maria Cruz stood proud, her faded sweater loose, gray braid firm, crumpled lease and worn journal raised, her voice a beacon, the studio a furnace of hope. Manhattan's lights a steady glow beyond. Tara's gold hoop earrings flashed as she turned to the seats, her voice clear saying Letitia's lies broke tenants. Families like Maria's fighting evictions while she faked audits to hide deals, her words slicing clean, the crowd surging, a teen in a cap clapping wild, a woman in a red coat standing fierce. She held up a new document, her blazer steady while reading slow, saying it was an audit Letitia's office forged, claiming her Brooklyn building passed checks when tenants faced leaks. Mold, no heat, her tone hard, cutting through the studio's hum. The audience gasped, a man in a plaid shirt shouting, a woman in a blue scarf wiping tears, the big screen flashing the audit, Letitia's signature scrawled, the room tilting toward justice, the skyline a silent witness. Letitia's suit sagged as she stood, her curls bouncing while saying the audit was routine. Her team followed rules, no harm meant. Her voice shrill but shaky, her hands twisting, the crowd booing loud. A man in a leather jacket yelling, a teen in a cap hissing, Tara's truth drowning her words. Tara's blazer gleamed as she pulled another paper, saying it wasn't one building, it was 5. All tied to Letitia's loans, all hiking rents, pushing families out, her voice rising, the crowd roaring, a woman in a red coat shouting, a stagehand cheering, the big screen showing eviction notices, Letitia's name stamped bold. The studio a wildfire no excuse could quench, Manhattan's lights steady outside. Maria's lease trembled in her hands, her sweater proud as she faced the crowd, saying her neighbors lost homes, elders and cars, kids changing schools, all because Letitia hid truth. Her journal's prayers her strength, her voice raw but fierce, like a tide-turning stone. The audience hushing, a man in a plaid shirt wiping his eyes, a woman in a blue scarf nodding hard, her phone raised. Tara's earrings caught light as she turned to Letitia, asking why she let tenants beg, why she faked records to save cash. Her words slow, each one a hammer, the crowd surging, a teen in a cap filming fast, a man in a leather jacket standing, the studio a heart pulsing for truth, the skyline glittering behind. Carl stepped forward, his tweed jacket worn, glasses clear, USB drive tight in his hand, his voice steady saying he'd found more emails. Letitia ordering her team to bury tenant files, shred complaints, keep her loans clean, his words clear, like a man free of chains. The audience clapping louder, a woman in a red coat yelling, a stagehand filming, the big screen flashing an email. Letitia's words cold, bury it deep, the city's lights framing the scene. Letitia's gray suit tightened as she snapped back, saying Carl lied, his emails fakes, her office served people. Her voice cracking, her eyes darting, the crowd booing wild, a man in a plaid shirt shouting, a woman in a blue scarf shaking her head, Tara's evidence swallowing her lies. Maria's journal shone as she faced Letitia, saying her prayers held her, faith in justice stronger than greed, now rallying tenants to fight, her voice breaking but bold, like a bell through chaos, the audience crying out, a teen in a cap raising his fist, a man in a leather jacket cheering fierce, the big screen showing a tenant rally flyer, Maria's name bold, the studio a blaze of hope, its spark leaping fast. Tara's blazer stayed sharp as she signaled the crowd, saying Maria led now. Tenants marching outside, demanding Letitia answer, their signs matching the studios, her voice rising, the crowd roaring. A woman in a red coat filming, a stagehand clapping, the big screen flashing a live feed, tenants chanting, "Truth now." The studio a tide no wall could hold, Manhattan's skyline a silent cheer. Tara pulled a new file, her earrings flashing as she read slow, saying it was a tenant list, 50 families from Letitia's buildings, all hit with hikes after her loan scams, all begging for help, all silenced, her words a vow. The crowd surging, a man in a plaid shirt standing, a teen in a cap shouting, the big screen flashing names. Maria's among them, the studio a furnace of justice, its lights searing lies. Maria's sweater lifted as she faced Letitia, saying those families trusted her, voted for her, but she sold them out. Her journal a vow to rise, her voice fierce, the audience cheering. A woman in a blue scarf standing, a man in a leather jacket filming. The studio a wave crashing wide, its hope of fire spreading fast. Letitia's silence a weight no defense could lift, the city stirring, the fight burning bright. Truth a spark no shadow could snuff, the night alive with hope, ready to flood New York. Tara Reid paced a New York City live TV studio stage, while the crowd's chants shook the air, her navy blazer sharp as she waved a tenant petition, ready to push Letitia James's crumbling defense past breaking with a truth that burned bright. Spotlights flared across a sleek set, a curved glass desk gleaming beside padded guest chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows framing Manhattan's skyline, tiered seats alive with viewers clutching signs, their shouts a storm. A man in a leather jacket leading a chant, "No more lies." A woman in a blue scarf filming with both hands. Letitia slumped in her chair, her gray suit creased, short curls flat, her hands shaking, her voice a whisper about probes, her eyes dodging Tara's, the air electric with a city waking fast. Maria Cruz stood fierce, her faded sweater proud, gray braid tight, her hands empty but her presence of fire, her voice echoing from last night's rally, the studio a beacon of justice, Manhattan's lights pulsing beyond. Tara's gold hoop earrings flashed as she faced the seats, her voice bold saying Letitia's lies weren't just paper, they were chains, locking tenants like Maria out of homes while she hid profits, her words cutting deep, the crowd roaring, a teen in a cap leaping up, a woman in a red coat waving her sign. Tenants rise. She tossed the petition on the desk, her blazer steady while saying it held 100 names. Tenants from Letitia's Brooklyn buildings, all facing evictions after her loan scams. Now suing for answers, her tone fierce, the crowd gasping. A man in a plaid shirt shouting, a woman in a blue scarf cheering, the big screen flashing a petition page, Maria's signature first, the studio ablaze, the skyline a steady witness. Letitia's suit sagged as she stood, her curls limp while saying the petition was noise. Her office followed law. Tenants got fair hearings, her voice shrill, her hands clutching the desk, the crowd booing wild, a man in a leather jacket yelling, "Liar!" A teen in a cap filming tight, Tara's truth drowning her words. Tara's blazer gleamed as she snapped her fingers. Saying fair wasn't evicting elders, wasn't hiding audits. Her voice rising as a stagehand wheeled in a speaker, her words a spark, the crowd hushing. A woman in a red coat leaning forward, a man in a plaid shirt standing, the big screen dark, the skyline glittering outside. Tara pressed play, her earrings catching light as an audio clip crackled. Letitia's voice clear, telling her team to lose the tenant complaints, fast-track the loans, her tone cold. The crowd gasping. A teen in a cap shouting, a woman in a blue scarf covering her mouth, the big screen flashing a transcript, Letitia's words in bold, the studio a furnace no denial could cool. Maria stepped forward, her sweater high as she faced Letitia. Saying that voice crushed her neighbors, left kids homeless. Her own fight born in Brooklyn streets, now spreading. her voice raw but fierce, like a tide carving stone, the audience hushing, a man in a plaid shirt wiping tears, a woman in a red coat clapping hard, the skyline a silent vow. Letitia's hands shook as she snapped back, saying the audio was doctored. Her teen never hid complaints, her voice breaking, her eyes darting to the exit, the crowd booing louder, a man in a leather jacket chanting, "Step down!" A teen in a cap filming, the studio's pulse racing, Manhattan's lights steady. Tara's blazer stayed sharp as she faced the seats. Saying Letitia's lies fueled evictions across boroughs, but tenants fought back, Maria leading rallies, her voice a vow, the crowd roaring, a woman in a blue scarf standing, a stagehand cheering, the big screen flashing a Times Square protest, tenants with signs, Maria at the front, the studio a tide no lie could stem. Carl stepped up, his tweed jacket creased, glasses clear, holding a court filing, his voice steady saying he'd dug up Letitia's orders to block tenant lawsuits, funnel fines to her allies, his words calm but cutting. Like a man unburdened, the audience clapping fierce, a woman in a red coat yelling, a man in a plaid shirt filming, the big screen showing a filing. Letitia's signature stark, the studio a blaze of truth, the skyline a silent cheer. Letitia's gray suit tightened as she stood, saying Carl was a fraud. Her office fought for tenants, her voice cracking, her hands gripping the desk. The crowd booing wild, a teen in a cap shouting, a woman in a blue scarf shaking her fist. Tara's evidence a wave no spin could break. Tara faced Maria, her earrings flashing while saying her fight sparked a movement. Tenants uniting, their voices louder than Letitia's lies, her words a fire, the crowd surging. A man in a leather jacket leading a chant, "Justice now!" A woman in a red coat filming, the big screen showing a Brooklyn rally, tenants marching, signs high. The studio a heart beating for hope, Manhattan skyline glowing proud. Maria's braid lifted as she faced the crowd, saying tenants plan to sue. Demand repairs, take back homes, her fight born from faith and truth, her voice fierce, the audience cheering. A teen in a cap raising his phone, a man in a plaid shirt standing, the studio a wave crashing wide, its light spilling into the city, Letitia's defense a shadow fading fast, the night alive with justice, ready to flood New York. Tara Reid stood tall on a New York City live TV studio stage while the crowd's roar echoed, her navy blazer sharp as she raised a tenant coalition flyer, its truth a blaze that reshaped the city, leaving Letitia James's lies in ruins. Spotlight swept a sleek set, a curved glass desk gleaming beside empty guest chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows framing Manhattan skyline, tiered seats alive with viewers waving signs, their cheers a victory song, a man in a leather jacket pumping his fist, a woman in a blue scarf filming steady. Letitia was gone, her gray suit a memory, her silence a confession no words could match, the air bright with a new dawn. Maria Cruz stood fierce, her faded sweater proud, gray braid high, her hands holding a community mural sketch, her voice a lighthouse, the studio a heart of justice, Manhattan's skyline glowing eternal. Tara's gold hoop earrings flashed as she faced the seats, her voice clear saying Letitia's schemes collapsed, but Maria's truth rebuilt a city. Tenants reclaiming homes, their fight unstoppable, her words ringing bold, the crowd surging, a teen in a cap shouting loud, a woman in a red coat waving her sign. Truth wins. She turned to Maria, her blazer steady while saying her rallies woke New York, her mural a symbol of hope, her tone warm, the crowd roaring, a man in a plaid shirt filming fast, a woman in a blue scarf wiping tears, the big screen flashing the mural sketch, tenants' names inked in color, the studio a blaze of joy, the skyline a vow forever. Maria's sweater lifted as she faced the crowd, her voice fierce saying tenants won now. Lawsuits settled, evictions stopped, her coalition fixing homes across Brooklyn, her faith in justice guiding every step. Like a river carving light, the audience hushing, A man in a leather jacket nodding hard. A teen in a cap raising his fist. The big screen showing a repaired building. Families moving back, kids laughing, the studio a tide of hope. Manhattan's lights cheering silent. Tara's earrings caught light as she faced the seats. Saying Maria's fight wasn't hers alone. New Yorkers joined, funding repairs, teaching kids. Their voices drowning Letitia's shadow, her words a vow, the crowd roaring. A woman in a red coat cheering, a stagehand clapping. The big screen flashing the city square. Tenants dancing, signs down. The studio a beacon no lie could dim, the skyline glittering bright. Carl stepped forward, his tweed jacket proud, glasses clear. His voice steady saying he'd testified in court. Shared every file, helped tenants win. His truth a gift to the city, like a man who'd found his call. The audience clapping wild. A man in a plaid shirt standing. A woman in a blue scarf hugging her friend. The big screen flashing a news headline. James resigns amid probe. The studio a furnace of justice. Its spark a city reborn. Manhattan's skyline a silent oath. Maria's mural sketch gleamed as she spoke, saying tenants painted it in Brooklyn. Names of families saved. A vow to keep fighting. Her voice breaking but bold, like a bell through dawn. The audience crying out. A teen in a cap filming tight. A woman in a red coat wiping tears. The big screen showing the mural, colors bright. The studio a heart beating strong, its light flooding the city. Tara faced the crowd, her blazer sharp while saying Letitia's fall was a warning. But Maria's rise was a promise. A city giving back, tenants leading, her words of fire, the crowd surging. A man in a leather jacket chanting, "Tenants strong!" A woman in a blue scarf standing. The big screen flashing a tenant fund. Donations soaring. The studio a wave lifting all. Manhattan's skyline glowing proud. Maria's braids shone as she faced the seats, saying her coalition grew. Training youth, fixing schools. Her faith in truth a spark for all. Her voice fierce. The audience cheering. A man in a plaid shirt filming. A teen in a cap raising his phone. The big screen showing a Brooklyn community center. Maria's name on the door. The studio ablaze no shadow could touch. Its light aflame for New York. Outside, the city burned bright. Tenants teaching, neighbors building. A man in a plaid shirt fixing homes. His hand steady. A woman in a red coat feeding rallygoers. Her smile wide. A teen in a cap leading youth. His signs bold. The streets a chorus of hope. The big screen flashing their faces. The studio a heart tying it all. Brooklyn's pulse alive below. Manhattan's skyline a vow eternal. Tara's earrings flashed as she faced Maria, saying her truth changed a nation. Her mural a light for all. Her voice warm, the crowd roaring. A man in a leather jacket clapping. A woman in a blue scarf cheering. The studio a tide carrying hope. Its fire a gift to the world. The skyline glittering forever. The city lived louder, a woman in a blue scarf tutoring kids, her hands quick. A man in a plaid shirt housing families, his smile bold. A teen in a cap painting murals, his brush fierce. No cameras needed, no cheers demanded. Maria's mural a vow in every act, small flames lighting every street. Enough, always enough. Tara closed the show, her blazer crisp as she thanked Maria, saying her fight rebuilt New York. Her voice steady, the crowd roaring. A woman in a red coat clapping, a man in a plaid shirt filming. The big screen flashing a city reborn, tenants laughing, homes full. The studio a beacon eternal, Manhattan's skyline a promise kept. Maria faced the crowd, her sweater proud, saying tenants stood tall. Their truth stronger than lies. Their city theirs again, her voice of fire. The audience crying out. A teen in a cap standing. A man in a leather jacket cheering. The big screen flashing Brooklyn streets, families home, murals bright. The studio a heart forever, its spark a city alive. Manhattan's skyline a light no lie could break. New York carried the flame, a woman in a red coat teaching youth. A man in a plaid shirt feeding streets. A teen in a cap building dreams. A city giving more, loving more, living more. Maria's truth a vow, its hope endless. Justice a fire that burned forever. Manhattan skyline a beacon for all time. Truth a spark no shadow could snuff.
Thank you for watching our channel Modern Stories. If you liked our video, you should subscribe for more amazing videos like this. Have a healthy and happy day. See you in the next one.